Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. One of my viewers wanted me to talk about black quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, the viewer sent me an article from Mike Prieria of the NFL officiating regarding Donovan McNabb and how he was treated in the Super Bowl, and the statement about Donovan McNabb having a better Super Bowl than people thought because he took a lot more hits than white quarterbacks, even though Donovan McNabb wound up losing that game. And they also sent me a video from Rush Limbaugh where he made the paternalistic statement where he said that black quarterbacks basically are given affirmative action in the NFL by giving preferential treatment in order for them to be able to receive benefits in the game that white players don't receive. Now, the whole statements here are that they're trying to say is that the media is desirous for black quarterbacks to do well in the game of football. And I really have to agree with the viewer in that the NFL really isn't desirous to see a black quarterback do well in the NFL, and they're not desirous to see a black quarterback do well in the game of football because of the optics that it represents to the overall game. Now, when it comes to the NFL, it basically is a part of the sports arm of white supremacy, and with it being a part of the sports arm of white supremacy, they basically want to see a white male elevated to a high status in the game, and this is why they are extremely nervous when they start to see black quarterbacks come into the game, because the quarterback is not just any player in the game. The quarterback basically is the leader on the field. In order for the game to even start a play, the quarterback has to be the one who makes the first move, and the quarterback basically, as the person who makes the first move, is considered to be the head and leader of the team, and they are also optically considered to be the face of the team as related to public relations. And this is the reason why most of the quarterbacks in the NFL are white males, and the main reason why they want the white male to be the quarterback is because the quarterback is the first player to make the move on the field. The quarterback is the person who goes out here and makes the plays happen, because no play starts without the quarterback, again, getting the ball. And when it comes to the quarterback is the person who, again, is optically the face of the team and the face of the brand as related to the overall business of the team. And the quarterbacks have always been white from the days of guys like Joe Namath, guys like Phil Simms, guys like Steve Young, who took over for Tony Montana, and Dan Marino. Always with the quarterbacks, they have always been white males, and it's been that way since until about the 1990s, when we started to see black quarterbacks come into the game. And when we started to see black quarterbacks come into the game, like Cordell Stewart and many other black quarterbacks come into the game, I think Warren Moon was a black quarterback, this is where many of the white males started to get upset. And they started to get upset because this was basically going to change the optics of the game and make the black man be the face of the game, the way black men became the face of the game in basketball. Now, in basketball, white males basically controlled the sport from about the 1950s to about the 1970s, and when black men started to come into the sport, they started to dominate the game, and dominate the game to the point where black men started to become the face of basketball. And when black men became the face of basketball, this basically made it where the only people were associated with basketball were black men. And the same thing happened in baseball for a time after Jackie Robinson wound up breaking the color barrier. The most popular members of teams like here in New York, the Yankees and the Mets, were people like Reggie Jackson on the Yankees, Dave Winfield, and guys like Rickey Henderson. And on the Mets, you had guys like Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden. And what many people in the NFL fear is that if black men start coming into football and start becoming the face of the game, this basically will destroy the dominance of the white male and destroy his ability to be seen as a leader and be seen as somebody regarded. So this is the reason why they are so upset about black quarterbacks as related to things. And passively, they'll say in the media they want black quarterbacks to do well, but aggressively what they do behind the scenes is do things to undermine and sabotage many of the black quarterbacks as related to them being a part of the game. And I can agree with the viewer because I've seen how they did Cordell Stewart when he was on the Steelers. I mean, Cordell Stewart was a great quarterback who basically did a great job when he entered into the sport. And he basically, again, went out here and did a great job as a quarterback as related to the game. And again, and same thing with guys like Rodney Peete, who was Holly Robinson's husband. Again, he was another great quarterback in the 90s. And I think it's Warren Moon. I'm just going to look up his name real quick. Yeah, Warren Moon was another black quarterback. Again, these were black male quarterbacks who did fantastic jobs, but the way the game was played was completely different when these black quarterbacks basically got on the field. When the black male quarterback got on the field, basically the entire defense was played differently, with the defense going hard after them. And as the defense went hard after them, these men got really banged up, like the viewer presented me in the article about Donovan McNabb. And when these guys would go out here and play, the offensive line had to deal with a lot of penalties. This was what was done to the black quarterback to basically mess up the black quarterback statistics, to make the black quarterback statistics look completely different as related to having a poorer performance compared to the white quarterbacks. Now, when it came to the white quarterbacks, like the viewer had shown me, and as I've seen in many NFL games myself, when it comes to the white quarterbacks, there's often an effort to protect the white quarterback and an effort to protect the white quarterback in the game, basically because what they want to do is be able to, again, one, maintain those optics as related to the white male being such a great player, and two, what they want to do is go out here and protect the white quarterback because they need the white quarterback in order to sell tickets to the game and be able to sell merchandise like jerseys, because their goal basically is to, again, keep that face on the field, as the face of the team, and use that face to draw for the team as they're having their game for the year. That is the reason why they are so protective of guys like Tom Brady and many other white male quarterbacks on the field, because the quarterback in and of himself, again, represents white power and represents the face of the team that the owners want. They want the face of the team to be a white male. And while they sit there and say they want to have black quarterbacks in the playing on the field, they really don't want black quarterbacks on the field. No, they don't want black quarterbacks at all, because they don't want the optic to be that a black man can be in a power position in the NFL, because the position of a black male in the place of power makes a lot of whites all over the country and all over the world uncomfortable. And I know that from personal experience and from working at a law firm where I worked for just 2 weeks, because they were so uncomfortable about the idea of a black man being in the position of a receptionist, because a receptionist in and of itself, a lot of people see it as a low-paying job, but the whole idea of a black man being in in a position of power. It makes a lot of whites and even some non-blacks extremely uncomfortable. And this is what the reason why they, again, want to try to, again, mess up many of the black male quarterbacks, because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable to see a black man be the face of the team and the face all over the world that everyone sees. And that's the reason why they, again, look to sabotage the black quarterback, where passively, yeah, they'll put the black quarterbacks in that position as related to playing the game, but aggressively what they do is go out here and rough that player up by having them do plays and having the refs make calls that basically are detrimental to their game and detrimental to their stats. And that's what they do behind the scenes as related to black quarterbacks comparison to their white quarterbacks, to the point where some people have been seeing on social media when they have games like I believe the 2017 Super Bowl, where you had the Atlanta Falcons. I believe, did they have a black quarterback? I think they had one again, or something like that, where some people were saying that game was so rigged. And again, no, Matt Ryan was a white guy who was playing the game, but the whole thing is, a lot of these games, people were basically saying that they feel like WWE wrestling whenever there's white males on the field, especially against a black male, that it basically makes the game feel like it's rigged instead of feeling like a fair competition. And I know I've watched a fair few of Super Bowl games. I used to watch them a lot when my cousin was living with me, and we used to watch a lot of football. But the whole thing is that it feels like you're trying to do something with these games as related to things with the black quarterback, and again, doesn't want to give the black male quarterback any sort of preferential treatment. No, you can see from the way that black people are treated in the game. And again, the media says that they are desirous to see a black quarterback do well, but the whole thing is that behind the scenes, they don't want the black quarterback to do well. No, they want the black quarterback to have lesser statistics because they don't want that black quarterback to dominate the game the way they did basketball and still are dominating basketball, the way black people had dominated baseball from about the 1940s all the way up until about the 1990s, when black people stopped going and looking to be a part of baseball. And the reason why black people didn't want to be a part of baseball anymore was because of the rigors of the farm team system, and with it being easier to get an NFL contract or an NBA contract, black players started working on that game instead of playing football. And the whole thing is, they also want to go out here and say that, again, that black quarterbacks, again, they want to talk about the way that they play, because guys like Cordell Stewart and Rodney Peete, they used to do a lot of running. But the whole thing is, Roger Staubach was a running quarterback, and it was no problem when the white male was out here running the ball. I mean, Roger Staubach, that basically was how he played the game for the Dallas Cowboys for many years. But when it came down to guys like Rodney Peete and Cordell Stewart, they would run the ball themselves. But it was a problem for a lot of white people. And again, it was a problem because they played completely different, and again, played their game similar to the way Michael Jordan used to play, because Michael Jordan was very distinct about the way he was playing. And again, very distinct about the way he was playing. And again, he was a fantastic player and dominated basketball to the point where he became an icon. And this is what many of the white supremacists fear regarding the NFL slave plantation. They fear that if a black man starts to become a leader position and starts to play the game in a distinct way, he will, again, not only play a great game, but dominate the game to become the face of the NFL. The face of the NFL, because what they want to do, they don't mind if you have black men being these guys who can, again, run really fast, like Emmitt Smith used to do on the Cowboys, or be very brutish with the defense, like guys like Michael Strahan and Lawrence Taylor. They don't mind the black man playing those roles on the NFL slave plantation, but they have a problem when a black man is in a leadership position. They have a problem when a black man is the face of the team. And that's why guys like Rush Limbaugh, when he was alive, was out here upset so much, trying to make it look like, oh, there's some sort of affirmative action going on, and people were giving the black player preferential treatment, when, and the irony is the black player was getting treatment that was basically making it harder for him to play the game than the white male player. The white male player, basically, again, like Tom Brady, they basically wanted to preserve him because of the optics of the game. And again, the optics of the game as related to the business. And they basically want to make it the game look white and not be black. And again, when it comes to the NFL, they don't see black players, again, as a valued member of the team. Otherwise, the team would basically, again, go out here and have a lot of black quarterbacks, the same way we had a lot of black players in the NBA and in Major League Baseball. But even in Major League Baseball, you never saw a black person outside of Derek Jeter be the captain. And again, when Derek Jeter was the captain, the Yankees were a championship team. And again, they don't like that idea of black dominance and black people having power. And this is something I know, again, from my personal experience working at that law firm. Again, didn't have that job but 2 weeks because they were so uncomfortable about the idea of a black man being in that position. They started projecting on me, oh, you're a lazy person, you're not doing anything. I haven't even been trained much to do anything because in 2 weeks you really don't get trained in anything yet. And they also talked about how I was an angry black man because they didn't like the way I sounded on the phone. This is what had me having issues with my voice for many years. And I've also seen this when I published John Haynes' Godbreaker. Oh, so many white folks who watched the channel got extremely upset when they saw John Haynes holding Thor's hammer and representing power. And when it comes to the black quarterback basically represents power, and represents power because that person is in the lead position. The game don't start until the quarterback moves the ball, and with the quarterback being the guy who moves the ball, he's the guy who basically gets the game started, and that's what the NFL owners don't really like behind the scenes. Again, they'll out here put up this paternalistic image of they want to see black quarterbacks succeed, but the quarterbacks that they have representing blackness are basically, again, biracials like Patrick Mahomes and guys out here who are like half black. So they're not really going out here and wanting to see a black quarterback play the game. And what they do is water down the game to protect the white quarterbacks. I mean, I've heard many YouTubers say that the NFL league has really gotten soft compared to the 70s and the 80s and the 90s when guys like Lawrence Taylor were playing defensive positions and basically wrecking these quarterbacks. I mean, I remember that when it came to the game back then, it was a lot rougher game. But these days, they go out here and look to protect the white quarterback to the point where people see it like it's a WWE match. And basically see it like a WWE match at this point because it's really, again, a thing that's out there. And the viewer wanted me to talk about this in depth, and I'm talking about it now because, again, I'm not that much of a sports fan, but I remember, again, just observing the game, watching the first black quarterbacks coming in, like Rodney Peete and Warren Moon and Cordell Stewart, and basically the game really felt very different. Again, felt very different because, again, the black quarterbacks, again, were getting a hard time on the field. And again, by the time Donovan McNabb came around, they basically roughed him up real bad. And again, roughed him up real bad compared to the white quarterback who basically got this protection that made it pillow soft. Again, they watered down the game for the white male players. They watered down the game so that the white male quarterbacks can go out here and play the game because they want to use them to sell merch like jerseys and caps and all sorts of stuff. They basically go out here and, again, want them to be the face of the team outside, again, aggressively, but they'll do in a passive-aggressive fashion, say that they want black male quarterbacks to succeed. But when black male quarterbacks succeed, it's in spite of the NFL. In spite of the NFL, which basically, again, like the MMA, is a white supremacist institution where insecure white guys go and to maintain their power. Again, looking to maintain their power because if they were all about inclusion, again, you would see more of a push for black male quarterbacks and a fair game where the black quarterbacks can basically get the support to be seen as Super Bowl champions and basically be seen as the ultimate face of the game, the way Michael Jordan was seen as the face of basketball and an icon of that sport. Now, this was a video requested by a viewer, and if you want to request a video, you can drop a donation for a minimum of $15 to the PayPal or the Cash App, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. And if you want to pick up some of my books that feature positive images of black men, you can check out the John Haynes series on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and you can pick up the book that starts it all, The Temptation of John Haynes. You can find that book and the John Haynes series books like John Haynes Godbreaker on Amazon.com, and you can find them all at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.